So Miss Minchef, it made it to his blind, and I would not be surprised if he three bet, and he elects not to. There's a couple of thought processes here. I think that I get the most value from him and this kind of player by just checking and getting him to barrel, turn and river. Uh, and if he checks in the spot, I'm gonna bet large, and you'll see me do this in other spots too. Okay, but because he bet, I'm just gonna elect to call. Say he checked here, I would have bet like $13. Given that if he has a hand like sixes, fives, sevens, a jack with a worse kicker, he's just forced to call, and it's just a spot where he's gonna be really fucking confused. So he bets his really small number again, which is another blocker. Last time I raised this, he just folded, so he could just be blocking with a jack again. And I'm not super happy about a call, but I am gonna make it. And he made his straight with 5-3. So I'm glad I didn't elect to raise. I guess the only way I win that pot is by betting the flop, but I think the hand played fine. I'm gonna raise to 5 under the gun with ace 5 suited. So he would have check folded the flop. That's very obvious because if he check raised with 5 high no draw, that would have been really fucking weird. Gregory 3 bets to 15. Um, he hasn't been super active. Uh, and 3 betting to 15 into a stack of 43 is pretty tough, so I'm just gonna give him credit. So talking about that 5-3 hand, I guess Miss Minchiff might have realized that last time when he bet that super small number, that blocker number that I raised really large, and maybe he was just hoping I did that again. Um, so that made sense. The only way to play this board is to check raise. I mean to check call, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He checks back. Given that he checks a 10 in that spot a lot of the time in king highs, I think that he just bets his air. Um, and I'm just gonna check. And give up. I don't. He might even check a bad ace in that on that flop too. I feel like if he had complete air, he would have bet the flop, and I would have had a couple options. But I was really hoping that pay your taxes would have raised. I could limp raise, or I could just raise into him. I'm gonna make it 5, hoping to get 3 bet, and it just goes fold. So I'm not super happy with this table anymore. Kind of playing super standard, and I'm gonna end this video soon. I'm not even allowed to get in many spots. So pay your taxes min raises. And I saw him fold to GWN's 3 bet from a min raise. So I'm actually gonna put him in a really fucking weird spot. I'm just gonna re-raise to 8. And if he shoves, I'll fold. But okay, so he's gonna be forced to call a lot of the time unless he decides to raise. And if he raises, I'm folding. And Gregory elects to re-raise. Okay. And that puts me in a super funky spot as well. And Gregory can't really re-raise once again, like I said, unless he has a real hand because pay your taxes stack is so short and can just get it in. I'm going to be making it 5. And GWN has not 3-bet his button against me, which I'm really surprised. I've given him every opportunity to, and he hasn't. Kind of confused at the player that he is. He seems like he's playing ABC, yet never taking any lines like squeeze lines or 3-bet lines. So, I mean, he is willing to open. Miss Minchef is definitely the most aggressive player at the table besides me. That's very apparent. And I feel like Gregory just has had a couple hands in those spots that I was kind of feeling around a little bit. I am gonna leave the table now, because I have a short to my left of 20 bigs and a short to my right of 20 bigs, and this just is no longer a profitable spot unless it goes hand versus hand, which is really annoying. So I am going to get up and leave after this hand. I'm glad that you guys, made it through another video and watched it. And we're gonna play jacks here real quick before I get up and leave. Hopefully we don't felt. That would suck. Um, yeah. You know, subscribe, message, comment. Let me know what you guys think and what you guys want to see, and I'll put it out there. If I'm not talking through situations well enough, ask me more questions, and we'll get to where you want to be. So pay your taxes shoves, and he's shoving a super wide range. Sevens plus ace queen ace king, and I'm going to be re-raising to 70 and folding to shoves because I don't want to cold call in this spot and get shoved on. That it's like the worst thing ever, especially with jacks if that happens. So I flop a full and I am good. Obviously the best flop ever. But the reason I don't cold call in that spot is because if GWN or Miss Minchev has ace queen or ace king and they just elect to shove it, I'm now in the worst spot ever, and there's a lot of dead money in there, and I would have cried and probably folded, and I don't want to do that. So instead, I put out 70, which is a pretty small raise considering he shoves 36, and I was actually going to fold two shoves over the top of that 70 because I don't think that GWN or Miss Minchef would shove tens or nines after a 75 bet or a 74 bet. It wouldn't happen often enough for it to be profitable. And I don't think they would even shove ace king, to be honest, to a 74 bet. I mean, they might, but at least they would just tank and think. And I think it gives myself the best opportunity of not getting shoved on by worse hands, and then me put to a super hard decision and fold. And that's why I don't just cold call in that spot. But anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. We finished another episode of Splash That Cash, made a little bit of money, 1-2 no limit. And let me know what you think. All right, all you guys have a good one.